Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 471. Let's see who shows up here. And all right, so this is wild to believe that this Disruption Swain would have the best value at a 91 rating. Please, I certainly don't like this non-existent rating Irelia, but this Swain is just actual garbage. And so it's been a while since we've actually played the Challenger Jarvan. I can't really just bring myself to play Swain, and so this is where we're going to start. And it's not a good one, right? We do have the Unguard Confront start, which is not exactly what we're looking for, but, you know, Jarvan's pretty powerful on his own. And so let's get him pulled up and talk about him a little bit more. And so, if you're not familiar, we're just over at ftpbus.com. We're going to be on the front page, make our way down to this little expedition helper, and scroll our way down to Jarvan. And so, yeah, this is kind of an interesting archetype. It pairs up with Renekton. And as you could kind of guess by the name, it's trying to get advantages out of challenges. And so we see dudes like Honored Lord, that whenever he does his first challenge, he catches Barrier. And then we have ways to give him Challenger, right? Out of that pack that we have the On Guard, we have the Confront, and then you see things like Penitent Squire that generate these tattered banners that can be used to give your other units Challenger. And then the tie-in with the Shurima side is that's where you'll find a bunch of vulnerables, and so you'll find cards like Exhaust and Ruthless Predator. Renekton himself is a big fan of making some challenges, and that's where the synergies across the two are supposed to be coming in. But at the end of the day, that's fine, right? That's one deck that we could pursue using things like the card Exhaust to give things Challenger, and then who knows, maybe we'll come across something like Senna, and she loves to make challenges, and everything would work well in that way. But the way I typically look to draft Jarvan and this archetype is to chase after elites, and there's kind of two things coming into that from elites. We do have this like really strong collection of early game cards, right? We have the Penitent Squire, the Honored Lord, and the Battlesmith. Typically, one of the problems that we have with elites is that the top end and the mid game is there. You know, there's just tons of 3/3s for 3. There's tons of 5 drops. But it's the early game that really catches you into losing scenarios with elites. And so as we start off with like Honored Lord, Penitent Squire, Battlesmith, that's a pretty powerful set of early game plays that we can focus on. To help us, assemble a 7 winning deck. And so that piece lives there. It has some of the elite boosting stuff, right? We have Battlesmith and Reinforcements. Do not have Vanguard Bannerman, but all the cards you could look for in Elites deck are here. And then the typical problem with Elites outside of the mana curve is being able to interact with stuff. And this also has all the various ways to give Challenger. So it picks up some interactivity that we wouldn't find with Demacian Steel Garen. And so then the second thing that this is really powerful in terms of, we did just mention Demacian Steel Garen. Ideally, as you go throughout the draft, you are able to get a Challenger pack to show up, and then you're able to get a Demacian Steel pack to show up. And so if early on in the draft we start with some of these elite style cards, we can hopefully get these two archetypes to turn up at the same time. There's a bunch of overlap between the two in terms of the cards that live within each of them. And, we should be able to assemble a really high-powered style deck since we, basically get to pick from 2 packs of our archetype instead of 1, right? That's the kind of thing these days that makes Riven really powerful. There's 4 fucking Rivens running around. It's very easy to assemble all the Reforges because you have so many opportunities to find Riven packs. And so can't do it here as easily as we could with like Riven or Shyvana or Misfortune, but there's a lot of possibilities between this Jarvan and this Garen. So Jarvan it is. Let's see who shows up second. I'm not opposed to either taking the Shurima pack, which is not very good here, right? The Sand and Ashes Azir is not going to give us too many combos. We'd be looking for Challenger Renekton, Vulnerable Renekton, Slayer's Nasus would be good. Any of the archetypes just packed full of Rockhoppers would be fine. None of that stuff actually lives here within the Sand and Ashes, and then would never, probably shouldn't say never, but probably never leveling up this Azir. So our other 2 choices here, both of these are fine between Quinn and Pantheon. Both of them have some interesting pros and cons, right? If we take the Quinn and we're chasing down this idea of being an elites deck, there's a handful of elites within the Quinn archetype, but then if we're mono Demacia, we should have a pretty easy chance getting that to come together. Between getting Demacian Steel to show up, and then if we do stack a bunch of Vanguard Bannermen, they should be very easy to activate the allegiance if we're just the mono Demacia faction. So interesting things here. Pecs and Pets also minorly interesting, right? As we have cards like Confront. Confront is a pretty easy card to cast onto Pantheon and turn him into a reasonably strong unit. And so I could see some combos running out this way. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's going to be too much value coming out of this Pantheon. And one of my kind of problems with this Pantheon is it's very kind of like mid-gamey. And that's just not a place where Demacia struggles. We don't need to be adding in like the 4/5s for 5s that generate gems, right? We already have a shitload of 5-drops. We don't need to be adding in the big unit boosting things like Battle Bonds, because ideally we'll just have things like Battlesmith and Reinforcements and Vanguard Bannerman. And so it feels like there's just like a lot of overlap between these two cards. And it makes me just want to come down here and pick up this Quinn and just try to stack up Mono Demacia. So I think this will be fine. We can pull up the Relentless Quinn real quick. We'll probably see quite a few of these packs throughout the synergy picks. So I do want to see what actually lives in this archetype. If I can remember my alphabet song, Quinn and Relentless. Cool, here we go. And so, yeah, there's, a few interesting cards in here. Vanguard Sergeant is one of the big ones. This is the premier elite in the game, right? 3/4 for 3 is just absolutely fantastic. And having a 3/4 for 3 that generates 4 Demacia is incredibly, incredibly powerful. This guy, I don't think he should be removed from Expedition, but he really needs to be toned back. You shouldn't be able to assemble decks that have 3 and 4 Vanguard Sergeants. And so this is one of the big things we'll be looking out for. This also has some of the good early game stuff, right? If we're hurting in the early game, it's nice to be able to pick up Bright Steel Protectors. This combos well with our various Challenger units. Also nice to be able to pick up things like Radiant Strike. The way that these decks sequence out a lot is we may not play anything on the first turn, but then we typically do play a unit from like turn 3 to turn 5, and we just don't have the mana to play things like Riposte or Prismatic Barrier. But it's very easy to slot in Radiant Strikes, right? The thing that gets kind of awkward is, say we do even like curve all the way through our mana because we have a Umbrella Maker on the first turn, and then we get to turn 4 and want to play a 3-drop. I'd much rather on turn 4 or turn 5 play like a 3-drop and a Radiant Strike as opposed to a Riposte and nothing. And so these do tend to fit into our archetypes pretty well. And then we also have, just good build-around cards in here. Screeching Dragons are great. Golden Aegis is great. Alarmed Bladekeeper is okay-ish. Just lots of things in here that I like in any Demacia deck. Starting off with the Ranger's Resolve is kind of nice as well. But let's see what shows up. So we're going to stay away from Ionia. I'm not completely opposed to jumping into another faction, but it's going to have to be for something good. I'm going to want to be seeing like an Epic if we're going to be adding in a different faction, because I really want these synergy picks to be Challenger. We're probably going to have Relentless because we took the Quinn. Might flip over to Scout It Out, but whatever. And then we want the third pack to be Demacian Steel. Kind of the way to hopefully get that going is with the Penitent Squire here. So happy enough to add that one in. Here, good early game package in the Fleet Feather Tracker Egghead Researcher. That's where we're really going to hurt, right? We need the early game stuff, and so glad to get some of that early interactivity in. Here, interesting set. The worst one is the Warchef's Larn Duelist. We don't really want to have to give our allies Challenger, because there's kind of two problems with this, right? A lot of our units just have Challenger anyways, so this tends to be kind of dead, and I'd much rather do it at burst speed or just having like a Confront on guard is much better than like advertising to our opponent that we're about to make a big challenge. And so I don't really want that. And then onto these next two, I like Great Horn Companion to a degree. We may not be drafting more Jarvans. don't really have to call ourselves a Jarvan build around. We would rather be adding in Lucians, right? Again, like if we're out here picking up Great Horn Companion, Screeching Dragon, and then, excuse me, for champion pick 3 and 4, we're adding in more Jarvans. It's really going to mess up our curve. And so I have two hopes with this Retribution pack down here. Retribution is the Lucian archetype. I'm hoping that two things: that we can continue to see Retribution. So at champion pick 3 and 4, we give the option to pick up Lucians. This does take us away from really stacking in Demacian Steel and trying to stack in Garen. But Lucian is, kind of the ideal champion for us the rest of the way. Just he's cheap, he plays well with Confront, he plays well with On Guard. And then the backside of this is Silverwing Vanguard is an elite. And so if this doesn't shove us into the Lucian archetype, I would hope this shoves us toward Demacian Steel. And so either way, I think it should really help us out with what we're trying to get our deck to do. This is a wild pick, Demacian Steel. I can't bring myself to take it. These cards are just too bad. We're going to go with the First Blade Screeching Dragon out of this. Really not interested in picking up a 6-pick Wraithcaller when we have 12 Demacia cards in our deck to this point. So we will be mono Demacia from this point forward, and it looks like Retribution is the archetype turning up as opposed to Demacian Steel, which is fine. But coming out of this pack, I really like Successions. It just fits into your curve so nicely. If you don't have a 1-drop, having a 3/3 on 2 is extremely good. But I think we want some of this unit boosting stuff. I feel like this is the big payoff for playing an elite style of deck. And so we're getting the Challenger generator in the Squire and then a unit booster and reinforcements. I think this is going to be fantastic. Okay, on to the next one. A good set of Challenger Bros down here to the right, right? We don't want 4 Demacia. These Relentless cards are fine, but not spectacular. But Laurent Protege is spectacular, and then we get a Bright Steel Protector, which is quite good when we have all of these various Challenger effects. All right, coming out of here, looking towards the Honored Lord Gallant Rider. This is some of the big payoff for drafting our Penitent Squires. That looks pretty good to me. I'm not opposed to picking up a back-to-back at some point. Like, ideally, at the end of the day, we would have, like, a Ranger Resolve, 1 or 2 Radiant Strikes, a back-to-back, and then maybe, like, 1 Riposte or something. But you typically can find these. It's not something you need to go out of your way to find. And it's something that if we don't have one at the end of the day, I won't be, like, super upset about it. Okay, so interesting set. It's like with the Mage Seekers, I really don't want Grand Moments turning up, but if we do come in and stack a bunch of the dude that makes 4 Demacia, these become kind of easier to activate. But I do worry about having Grand Moments turn up. And we don't have any of that for Demacia Maker at this point. So these are kind of meh. Reinforcements is our only activator, so I'm going to go with an additional Bright Steel Protector. It's got a removal spell with him, so that's not that bad. Okay, coming into the pick 11. We don't need to stack these Screeching Dragons. I think we're okay with 1. Like, I'll play another one if we get it, but I don't think it's something we have to do. But we're going to be getting one of these 5-cost challengers anyway. Right, Screeching here, Swiftwing Lancer in the middle, Swiftwing Lancer to the right. And so I just want to go with the card that's going to be the best thing for us after that. And I'm leaning towards the Laurent Protege here. Again, I feel like our top end is going to be fine. I'll play more Researchers if we get them, but I want this early game Challenger here just to help ensure we don't lose in the early game. And with this, I'm kind of interested in Captain Erika here. It's got a Confront, which I like playing 1 copy. I don't like playing 2, but this is a unit I'm usually pretty happy to have 1 copy of because our games tend to go pretty late. Here, Penitent Squire Battlesmith is a pretty easy take. Battlesmith is something we'd like to have tons of copies of. Erika shows up again. Can't take this one. We are kind of light on spells at this point. We only have 7, and 1 of them is reinforcements. And so I'm going to go with the Strafing Strike Riposte just to give us a bit of interactivity here. And our trade pick, Bright Steel Formation, sure. We do have a bit of an expensive top end here, but I do still feel like we'll be able to pick up 2 Lucians, and our curve won't look that bad, as opposed to if we're playing 3 Jarvans. And so, absolutely happy to pick this up. This will definitely lend us at least 1 game we don't deserve. Okay, so you all know what time it is. We do have to go and turn something premium. And this is going to be a bad one today. I feel like we're probably going to be in the land of epics. So let's see. We can at least try to find something in here. Field promotion. I miss you. You aren't in expedition anymore, but maybe one day you'll get there. And so, okay, we got some rares. I saw the Rangers Resolve in the other stack. I know we drafted one Gallant Rider. Let me see if like reinforcements is still in here. No, we've already done reinforcements. Okay, yeah, see, the Rangers Resolve was a choice. But, all right, we got a unit. Good, good. I thought we were going to have to go and pay the big money and do an epic today. But Riot's saving me $1 or $2, saying you can do the rare. Let's get to it. All right, not bad. How would we feel if we added Yumi to this deck? I mean, it wouldn't be like horrible in terms of Yumi. I try to think about it because it's attach is a new thing. I'm sure like attach is going to be a thing kind of forever. Probably it seems like if say they wanted to make one of the iconic items from Runeterra, you can attach it to a unit. Seems like a nice way to have that kind of permanent effect going, and so they want to add Infinity Edge or Trinity Force or whatever to the game, then attach would probably be a pretty reasonable way to do it. But I was trying to consider in terms of Yumi because it is like such a new thing. Like giving a unit +2/+2 permanently for 3, not that great of a deal, but it does kind of grow and turn into Spell Shield at some point. And so I think I was just thinking of Yumi in terms of like here, where Quinn doesn't really add anything to our deck, but having a that effect, like Quinn is just another 5-drop unit amongst a deck full of 5-drops. But if we had that kind of unique effect from Yumi, it would be kind of interesting here. So this one's slightly awkward. We're going to have to watch ourselves. We didn't have an elite to generate the umbrella, but we just immediately drew a Vanguard, which kind of helps the payoff a little bit. Now we have a new question, and do we want to Bright Steel Protect or anything? I don't think so. I think we can save that for a turn from now. Dude's playing what appears to be either action or more likely he's playing Lurkers, and Lurkers don't have too many good blocks out of playing another unit here. Like they can add the 2/3 predict, but not tons of stuff to worry about otherwise. I think we're just going to start getting big here. I'd say he'll probably attack into the Larn Protege, which is fine. But next turn, we can spend the mana on the Umbrella, drop the Honored Lord with his ability, and then we can also Brightsteel Protector the Larn Protege. Tons of big power we can push through here. I've been asked before, why do we call these things umbrellas? Because look at it, she's carrying an umbrella. It's out here fucking raining, and that's what you do to keep the rain off of yourself. And then it's unfortunate it's all tattered and stuff. The rain's just coming through, but she's doing the best she can. If you're out there making battles and stuff, you probably don't get to think about the quality of your umbrella. She's more worried about the battle she's getting herself into. Obvious, if you ask me, but. Here, this is fine. Like, actually, I mean, it's kind of tempting. He did just add Ripper's Bay, but, I mean, if we add the Bright Steel, we just get to, like, deal so much damage here. Right? He just doesn't want to add a unit now because his block is just going to be shitty. But I think punching in this damage is incredibly good. It seems better than just, like, banking into reinforcements 2 turns from now. Like, what else are we going to do? We're going to play... Brightsteel Protector next turn? That sounds stupid. Like, I think this would be one of these good turns to where we just block something next turn with the Penitent Squire and then follow up with Silverwing Vanguard. We'll be completely full on board and be able to hook away whatever feels like a bad block. Okay. Just incredibly powerful here. Anyway. Guess we can just shut down the pike. Alright, my dude, enjoy. Welcome to the Demacia interactivity package. Okay. That seems horrible. Alright. Should be good enough. There's not... I don't think there's anything out of... You could have like a Spirit Fire. That would be awkward, but there shouldn't be anything else to get him out of this mess. It's like even if he Spirit Fires, we could... Well, that would be a pretty bad place for reinforcements. We wouldn't get both the units because our guys wouldn't die until the end of the turn, but that's not a card that usually lives within action or within lurkers. All right, and it didn't happen? Oh my gosh, we talked all day about coming in here and picking up this Lucian, and it just doesn't turn up. F. Why Fiora? Why? We saw, like, all throughout the draft, we saw so many Retribution packs, and then as we get to the end here, it shows Shield Wall. Like, what did we pick to ruin that? The Bright Steel? Bright Steel and Riposte we did pick up there, like, right at the very end. God, come on, game. F. Well, I'm not, like, completely opposed to picking up Fiora, but I don't think we need to. We aren't, like, super stacked at top end. We got away with just like one dragon, one lancer. I think the Jarvans will be okay. It's just the way I typically like to do this. There'll be like 2 or 3 reinforcements, and then a lot of Vanguard Bannermen, and so our top end tends to be like pretty bad, right? The way you typically lose these games is that you get to turn 5 and you have like 1 or 2 dudes on board and a hand of like 2 Bannermen and a Jarvan and another 5-drop or something, and you just can't put enough stuff on the board to be relevant. But we do pick up another Screeching Dragon, just another expensive. We will have to look towards like our last champion pick to just be cheap cards. We're getting really close to just having too much expensive stuff, but like I don't feel like this Riposte Prismatic Barrier helped that too much, and like we have enough Bright Steel Protectors at 3, right? I don't think we need to pick in this Quinn stack. We'll go with the Jarvan. That would have been a kind of a nice combo for the Pantheons, though, right? Pantheon really enjoys having these Bright Steel Protectors around, since you can use that as a power-up for his flip ability, or you can power up Faded with it. But I think that's something that we would want if we were planning on being, like, base Pantheon, and then, like, say we took a Pantheon pack 1 and then pick 2, we have to pick up, say, like a Fiora. Right, I just think drafting around Jarvan is way more powerful than ever drafting around Pantheon. A lot of power here if we can make it until turn 9 without dying. That's not a big ask, I don't think. But this hand shows what I talk about in terms of the Radiant Strike, right? If we imagine that Egghead Researcher or whoever was like a 3-drop, then there's just not, we're going to spend like all of our mana every turn. Really? Okay. Well, if he's got a rush, he's got a rush. There's just not enough combat tricks here for me to worry about. Shyvana is Zed Garen. Okay. Let's play the Squire. There may be some kind of world where we want to give the Egghead Researcher the bonus. Like, I don't think it's going to come up too often, but it could happen. What are you doing? Don't understand what's happening here. Maybe he just has like a really awkward draw. But it's also weird seeing like, well, this is the Garen with the Grand Plaza and the Vaults of Helya in it. Did he won a game and took Shyvana or something? Weird. Alright. Well, we got our big boys ready to get online. Not too scared about anything they could add to the board now. Oh, friend. That is unfortunate. Okay. Yeah, most definitely. This is going to be like the Grand Plaza Vault of Helya thing. They there's a lot of the self-sacrifice themes kind of happening in there. That's why you'll see all these Vanguard Redeemers. This is fine. All right, so do we ever just like play Jarvan? Right? I don't think so. Let's just go. Let's start with the Egghead. See if we hit like a cheaper-ish dragon. Did not, but this is all fine. Okay, no blocks, and then we'll hook down this Mask Mother with Jarvan next turn, and then we should be lethal here. Like you, and you, and then you. We need one less unit, so Jarvan comes down. We'll take down our small boy, and then we can put you in front of the Vanguard Cavalry. Jarvan hooks that dum-dum, taking him to -2. Nice. Mamba out. If that's a penis reference. I've been sending unsolicited Mamba pics to all my friends on Tinder. that's what you got to go to get it on the PG news sites. Your Mamba pics. All right. But let's see what we can do here. I like to hang on to one confront. I don't really want to get rid of this one. We have, limited interactivity here, so I want to hang on to the one. Screeching Dragon, not something we really need more of as well, right? We have 2. Swiftwing Lancer is pretty much the same thing. I just want to stay away from that. I could see trading away a Strafing Strike. Well, we don't have any single combats. I thought we had one. But War Chefs isn't like a fantastic ad. It's not an elite. It doesn't like help with this early game boosting as much as like a Bright Steel Protector does. I think I'm going to stay away from that one. Then we've been getting pretty wide pretty easily. I want to hang on to the Ranger's Resolve here as well. So we'll skip over all these. All right. Go. The new opponent has been found. Okay. Where the Freylord comes into the mix here. We got this Pantheon Lulu, but he's got a Freylord card in his deck. Interesting. All right. Well, Jarvan's definitely here to party. We mulligan him away, turns right back up. And then here, I'm not like amped about hanging on to First Blades, but I wanted to be able to play the Squire on the first turn and get the Umbrella, and then it can make the First Blade a little bit stronger in terms of his first attack can be kind of scary, right? If he's just coming in as like a 4/4, easily taken down. But after the first, if you get to pick and choose on that first attack, he can just continue to grow. I think that's fine. Honored Lord turns up. Okay. Let's see what opponent does. Like the thing that was getting like kind of awkward with this board is we wanted to get, Protege on board, but we also want to get a 4-drop on board with the Umbrella. And now that we've picked up the Honored Lord, we can just go for it. So we'll have to take a 3-hit from the Trapper, but we should be looking pretty big next turn. Yep. Bright Steel. We'll save that for next time. Well, next time's going to be Jarvan. This will probably have to be used for blocking purposes. Let's see what turns up. Yetis. Okay, this guy gets a trick. It's fine. I was hoping more along the lines of Fury of the North, but this is okay. We'll at least get his dude off board. Our birds become more relevant now, right? We can Silverwing Vanguard down an Enraged Yeti. And I think this is okay. Let's see. A lot of those will depend on if he opens on us here or not. I definitely want to get the Protector down. That keeps us away from the birds. But if we're just like trading Honored Lord into something next turn, it's not that bad. And I wouldn't be opposed if we could try and line this up to where we're hooking in the Yeti with the Honored Lord, just expecting a trade, and then slamming Jarvan into the Saga Seeker. Not opposed to it. We'll see what turns up. Battle Bonds. Okay. His attacks are significantly less good now. I like that. It's like the new question I'm starting to assemble is like, what if we don't play Laurent Protege this turn because he doesn't really do anything, and then we try to catch a Cataclysm off Jarvan? It's going to depend on what opponent does. Like if they start dropping like Gift Givers, and we can get a safe Cataclysm off of Jarvan, that would be kind of nice. But he is, well, I guess there's two things here, right? If the opponent attacks here, then we can make like the Divine Shield block. I don't think he's going to attack after he adds the Sentry and can't play tricks, but if we get like the Divine Shield block onto one of his units, then the Jarvan will flip on the next combat. So maybe that'll turn out to be a thing. Feels like dude's going to be super far behind if he doesn't start attacking. Right? We don't have to attack with Honored Lord next turn. We can just hook the Sentry with Laurent Protege and then have Jarvan slam into the Yeti. Wonder if we'll get some more Yeti cards. I think the Frey Lord piece is what's about to come out in the new set, and so we see start to see the likes of Nunu or whoever they plan on printing. I forget. There's been a lot of speculation on the Frey Lord champion coming up. I don't quite remember what if people thought Nunu was happening or if I forget who the other one was. Uh-oh. Oh, I thought he disconnected. We started getting that fast timer rolling through. That's fine. For Demacia. Alright, so if you do the Cataclysm now that he's flipped, he gets the barrier, right? When you attack, no, you skip that part. When I challenge an enemy, give me barrier. So these Cataclysms start being barrier hits. Quite strong, looking really good on this board. Shouldn't be too many ways for them to just like pop a barrier either. They can have a hush, which would be sad, or after that it's just kind of like really weird things like what would it be, like an ice blast, whatever that's called, the one damage thing coming out of Freylord, the AoE. But here, let's see what happens. I wanted to kind of play it a little bit slow, see if opponent does anything clever. It doesn't look like they're going to. We'll use the generated Cataclysm first, just to see what happens. You know, if he's trying to slow play a combat trick or something, or he has a way to kill our Jarvan, then we can still save the other Cataclysm. Yep, this is fine. We're just going to generate these every turn. Barriers. And then I don't think we want to add a unit. Right, these Cataclysms are going to be the strongest thing that we can be doing. And so let's stick to that for a hot minute. Let's start with this. Again, he shouldn't have too much in terms of scariness, right? He can have an Ice Shard. He can have more Flash Freeze kind of things, but he shouldn't be able to actually kill our Jarvan here. And if he does, it's not the end of the world. We can still have this other one in hand. Curious if he'll play like one more card. He does. He certainly does play one more card. So Pantheon can't flip this turn. He can flip him next turn, though. So let's see. So if we make these attacks, we're going to hook Yeti with Honored Lord. We're going to hook Ibex with the 2-2. So I guess we'll hook the Scales with the 2-2. I think I like this, actually. I'm going to Jarvan Cataclysm into Pantheon. That's going to pop his barrier. And then I'm going to kill Pantheon with one of these smaller dudes. So now we have the Honored Lord hook into the Yeti, the 2-2 hook into Pantheon. We have the 5-4 hook onto Saga Seeker. And then his board's just annihilated and the game's done. So yeah, this is fine. They'll bounce barriers off of each other and then we'll kill all his stuff real good. Cool. All right, barrier hit complete. Now. We'll let Jarvan hang back. He only gets the barrier if we do the challenge, and so I'm not quite willing to risk him when he's out here just annihilating boards left and right. It's a nice pickup in the 5-5. Got some expensive generation here. It's another one of the reasons I like to just play a lot of the cheaper early game cards, as we can fairly easily just upgrade into the bigger stuff. Pantheon not that scary. We do have to worry about him hitting like barriers, but I think he's... What are we gonna do here? Let's be real. Let's just go ahead and kill his unit, or attempt to kill his unit. I mean, I do see an argument for trying to take down the Pantheon, or at least popping his barrier. So if he plays his card and hits Challenger, then can Challenger down Jarvan. Kind of sucks, but it's not. It's not a big game ender if that's how it lands. He did hit Challenger. Quick attack, elusive, fearsome Challenger, augment. So at the end of the day, if he's just going to come in and hook down our Jarvan, I think that's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to add in the Vanguard Cavalry now. We can look to Tattered Banner the Empyrean, and then use the Empyrean to take down Pantheon. Or just draw Captain Erika. Does he have Spell Shield? Nope. Alright. Sure. We'll put the umbrella on her, so we might be able to get to pick and choose some attacks with her in the future. Probably won't put her at risk, but yeah, just get the concession. Nice. But I'm glad it turned out at least nicely there that we didn't pop the barrier, since he did hit quick attack with his abilities. I guess it's kind of tough to choose. I think you just kind of assume that his Pantheon's never going to die. It's just so easy for them to hit like elusive and then just not be engaged in combat, or if he hits Challenger, to just give it like quick attack and just a lot of very positive like combat centric things he could hit. And then if he doesn't even hit like something like quick attack, their decks have so many combat tricks that I just think that our dude is going to be dead the majority of the time. But here, why not just pick up an average of just under 7 to add to our deck? Again, I don't want Quinn, I don't want Fiora, and so we do need to do a bit of work to trade away some of this expensive stuff. Like I'd like to trade out like Lancers or Dragons or Thirst Blades, Silverwing Vanguards, these things that cost like 4 or more. But as long as we don't think of ourselves as like too aggressive, which I fall into the pitfall of, we should be okay. Definitely more mid-rangey, stat-based, classic Demacia type stuff there in our top end. What up? It's the Korean Lover. We played them a few videos ago. I couldn't quite piece together what the name was about. If they're just a lover of Korean, you know, or if they have, you know, the sexual prowess of, you know, something to write home about. Impress everyone on Reddit with your game and your abilities. All right. Anyways, let's not get too distracted by the Korean Lover. I think I want to go ahead and just throw down the Bright Steel. Our board, like, hand is just going to get super clogged up, and 3-banking all that mana into a, like, on guard doesn't seem that great. So let's try to load up on the board against this Preservarium. I like it. And so what I'm kind of thinking of now is we'll go into next turn. It's the 4 mana turn. We can spend 2 of it on Battlesmith, 3-bank the mana, and then go into turn 5 and try to reinforce with the Battlesmith on the board and just get tons and tons of stats. So let's see if it plays out like that. A little scary against Shurima and that they can come in and just like potentially challenge down the Battlesmith, but if he plays like a Profiteer or something here, I don't have to worry too much about it.
We're wasting time. Acadia needs our help. Time spent planning is never.
All right, we'll risk it. We'll risk a pass. He may just send it back to us, right, since he's so far behind in terms of having like Kahiri on board, but we can still just reinforce this turn. They're a little bit smaller, but still tons of stats. That's not very friendly. That ruins a lot of what we had going on. Okay. Can still build up like fairly nicely after this. Like adding a Screeching Dragon is good. We're getting into this space to where we can like open and back to back. Not too worried about that. But it's that was definitely like a pretty poor sequence for us in terms of how things could go. Oh, he's got all the champions as well. It's just so scary if we have to like run into a Ruthless Predator. It's not like the kind of cards you typically see out of these champions, but it definitely exists. But it would be nice to block one of these if he tries to come in and attack. Man, things would be so different if we just had the if we had that Battlesmith on board. All right, let's stop and see how we think about just like before we get involved with this back to back. So Egghead is fine. Let's give them a chance to spend some mana. Ooh, Cadrigen. If this game, as long as this game looks like it's going, a lot of potential power coming out of that. Okay. I don't feel like this goes right all the time, right? They definitely have some mana here, but I feel like we should get a big chunk of his power off of the board. Zillion's Chrono Shift. Okay. Comes back as a big boy. We at least do grow on the Screeching Dragon as well. He's not going anywhere. 610. It's a big ol' Azir. Another back-to-back? Cool. Not grow? Does that not count as killing the unit? These dumb cards. The next time I'd this round, fully heal me and grant me 3/3 instead, so it doesn't actually get the slay. Okay. Who did he target? Dragon? I don't really want to have to back-to-back here. But it would be nice to get some damage on Azir. Let's see if he'll trade out on this Battlesmith. I don't care about the Battlesmith. Like, maybe we should have just dropped the Penitent Squire, because kind of like my idea for next turn is to Umbrella up the Cadrigen. We're gonna have to wait and see. Yep. Interesting. It's a Azir at 9 of 13. And so we can, like, Strafing Strike out this turn and really protect our dragon. Like, if we say Strafing Strike... Oh, no, you're just going to die, right? The heal happens afterwards. Do we want to back-to-back, though? It is, like, kind of nice going into next turn, having the boosted dragon. I think this is good. Right, we get a big chunk of damage on Azir, and then we can follow up with Cadrigen and then try and hook the Azir down. Okay. I think maybe we just save that for next turn. Picking up a Jarvan is pretty interesting now as well. Okay. I'm on board. All right, that's big. That's big. Now we can go to next turn and start having the barriered cataclysms again. I like it. Dude just had tons of stats, right? Yeah, the 2/2 from the Siphoning Strike, 3 from the Chrono Shift. Does he still have champions? Apparently he does.
Emperor, what do you have planned for our city?
More than any mortal
All right.
domain has ever known.
But it's like his deck is like popping off, right? It's doing everything that this deck really wants to be doing. And then his units are still just smaller than all of ours, right? That feels pretty good.
Who's with me?
Make haste! It is time.
That's it?
Have risk and weaken Sharima.
Okay. So if we want to, like I'm thinking we want to say like block here and then do a strafing strike. Take this dum-dum down. Then we're going to start blasting stuff with Jarvan, right? Might be able to just lethal next turn.
No quarter.
Definitely want to bank 3. I'm looking to just like say play Squire and Protege this turn.
Blood of Sharima.
And then next turn we have Cataclysm and then we have Cadrigen. Don't think we're going to be able to lethal, but I think we should get almost insurmountably ahead of opponent here.
Our prosperity and loyalty belongs to
And he doesn't have a doesn't have any more champions. Life must be hard. Can we ever just get a kill here? Like, say we slam Jarvan into Sandcrafter, then we have 1, 2. We'd be. I don't think that's going to be a possibility. Let's just continue to grind this down.
For the king! No quarter!
Ooh, not the Squire, the banner. Grow, dragons, grow. Get big and stuff. Alright, so. Where are we at? You get to attack. You get to attack. You get to attack. And you get to attack. We're going to lose the Screeching. Could attack with Jarvan, but I just don't think it's worth it. Like, we're getting so far ahead at this point where we're basically just killing his best unit every turn with the Cataclysm, and then he's not going to have any more 10 health Azirs that we have to deal with. And so let's just protect the Jarvan. We're going to be able to block as much as we want to next turn, right? We can still add Quinn, we can add the Umbrella Maker and all this shit. I don't think we have to worry about him lethaling us once we take the Azir off board. Yeah, this should be pretty tough to recover from.
Share the bounty of our success!
Okay. So he's got a bunch of sand soldiers. Okay. You can come in for 2 points of damage. Wonder if he's got that time bomb lined up for us. Gets us to a lot of 1 health units.
the Vanguard. Oh, thank goodness.
There it is. Don't think it's gonna matter, but I mean it draws a card for him. That's always nice. Cool.
Our stories, our struggles.
And he's had a lot of the big build around cards out of this Ascension Azir style deck. Don't think it was enough to overpower us at the end of the day. And we should be able to just boom through this the rest of the way here. And have 2 challengers between Valor and the Honored Lord. We can give everything Challenger with On Guard if we want, but
Demacian needs.
I think we're good.
The young prince will be found. If you've hurt him, I've learned a trick or two.
There it is. Got him. All right. Good job, team.
Fine work, soldiers. Fine work.
Fine work, soldiers.
Perhaps they realize they've
Oh man, I clicked through the voice line too quick. it just auto start clicking as fast as I can as soon as the game's in. But what are we doing here? Like, I don't want Ardent Trackers, too expensive. Don't need more Screeching Dragons. I kind of like having the additional confronts. You know, we still have a lot of elite combos going and want to keep our single confront. So I'm going to skip over this one. Right. Pre-final battle. as they call it. It's on the Riot website. Round 5 pre-final battle. Ready for it. Yeah, that was pretty good. Like these nice little early interactivity packages transitioning into some fairly big late game. All right, and I can almost assure you this guy's playing Iceborne Legacy Spiders. I don't feel like there'd be any other reason why you would see at least Riven, probably both in, there's the Arachnophilia Riven now as well, to want to be packing Jarvan, or not Jarvan. That's our champion, packing Braum. And so wouldn't be surprised to see that's what's coming along here. Oh shit, we don't have any elites. It's not the end of the world, but I was definitely expecting to get the umbrella out of this.
I pull the strings. You're covered.
Okay, we'll block if you want to attack. Nope. Excellent.
Break their spirits and their swords.
House Spider. That's kind of meh, but let's keep our blocker back for the Elise here, and then see how this progresses. This is kind of one of these spaces as to where I would like to just bank all the mana next turn and then play reinforcements on 5, but I have to wait and see. Dude's gonna flip his Elise here. It's kind of scary.
My true beauty is beneath the skin.
Let's see. This would be the big blowout turn, right? If he has the Iceborne Legacy to boost these broodlings. I'm a little scared. All right, just a Braum. And so, do we want to go for the reinforcements? Because what's going to happen here is he's probably going to hook like one unit with Braum, one unit with Spiderling, hit us for 6. We could just play Swiftwing Lancer next turn. I think I'm kind of on board with that.
With a little time, I'll have a breakthrough. Time for talking to. Have you met my shield?
Braum hooks, you got it. Spiderlings, you got it. Hits us for 5, sure. And so yeah, I mean that's at least promising. You can see how bad this board would be if he had the Iceborne Legacy. I would just assume he just doesn't have it, right? He would have assuredly played it there if he did, but then also he's just like throwing away all of his Spiderlings, and so it's not like he felt Braum was the better play this turn over the Legacy, and then he's just building up to it in the future. He just kind of decided that this was the stronger way to go about it. Now dude's just like passing. That's kind of odd. I mean, if he has like an Iceborne Legacy, it's bad. But if he's playing like Frostbites, this is still fine. Yeah. And say if he has something like Brothers Bond, I'm also okay with this. But sure, he spent his 6 mana to kill our 1 health bar protege. That feels like a win. Still building up a nice board here. Little hook there. Can't stop the Elise. There's no way she's going to hook the Egghead Researcher. But I think I will use the Egghead to prevent the 3 from the Mighty. This is probably as good as it's going to be this game. Now, the kind of unfortunate thing here is we don't have any way to give this Invilis Vox like Challenger. And so I think we're just going to be looking to say, play the Screeching, play the Swiftwing Lancer next turn. We'll be banked up to 3, and then maybe we'll get a big Golden Aegis next turn. Let's try and clear out more of this board. There we go. We just gotta make it to Brightsteel formation. All right, Same deal as the last turn, right? If he has a flash freeze, then whatever. If he has a brother's bond or something and we just get trades, it's still pretty good. Bloodsworn Pledge and a flash freeze. Okay, so he should be out of cards after this. And do we even really care about taking down this Elise? Would we rather take down the Riven as opposed to Elise now? I don't think so. Let's take down the Elise and just get the challenger aspect of her out of here. Alright, so do suspect opponent will open now, but if they don't open and we get to drop reinforcements, it just gives us so many nice blockers against what he's doing here. Oh, Captain Farron. Fuck. That's scary. as we're facing down like with all of these 1 health units. Can't really just get bombed for 8, right? He has the double decimate. But we really need this on guard for next turn. So we can do this. We can Involus Vox. We can throw Involus in front of Captain Farron. Well, I guess he's gonna hook. He can hook him with the Braum. There's no real way for us to get around getting bombed here. I think we're just gonna be too slow to beat the decimates now.
The cost of war.
That's the easy one. Block here. Takes us to neg 1. We're just dead. Okay. That's why in our previous video as we were having struggles with the Bandle City Noxus deck, and we're just like, well, there's Captain Farron. He's just gonna win us a game. That was exactly it. And the last game of the video where we were just trying to fight our way to the end. To draw that Captain Farron, draw him like a turn too late. That games like this were exactly why. We were just so close to turning that game around. And he's like, oh, by the way, here's about 16 damage you can't do anything about. And so, kind of is what it is. He's epic. That's kind of high-powered shit you expect out of the epics. Just unfortunate his came online before we could get our Brightsteel down. But moving forward, I don't want to trade for additional Erikas. I could see swapping out this Egghead for the Penitent Squire. Again, we've got like a pretty heavy amount of late game in our deck now, and I just don't feel like the Eggheads are that important. So let's go ahead and take this swap here, get the additional Penitent Squire, see if we can't get a little bit more elite heavy. Do y'all remember when Captain Farron used to make 3 decimates? Alright, I'm pretty sure we played this guy earlier. He's definitely playing Lurkers. And so we have to full mulligan this. We can't play Lurkers and not play stuff till turn 4. Oh my god, this is definitely how you can lose these games. Starting off with a Brightsteel. Ugh. Uh-oh. I'm a little worried about this one. Oh, man. Alright. You can help us here, Honored Lord. Plays the Prescience now. Sure, we should have played the Honored Lord. I guess, well, there is a world where he gets hit with an exhaust, but could have threatened to stop this point of damage from the Hammer Snout. Captain Erika, just what I was hoping to find. Alright, well, there's not much expensive stuff left for us to draw. And we're clawing back on this board. Hopefully we have a bit of time before he gets everything going here. Oh boy, and he just naturally hit on the Snapjaw Swarm. Well done. Well done. Okay. It's just like such a game ender right there if he attacks with the Snapjaw Swarm and misses. right? We just get the free kill on his unit and he doesn't get any growth. But that's part of the joy of playing against lurkers, right? Part of the joy. Just can't take this. Alright, so this is essentially going to be the make or break turn. If we draw a card that we can actually play, then we're probably still in it. And then if we picked up like another 6-drop or something, then the game is just clearly done. This thing happening in our hand right here is what you absolutely have to avoid when playing these elite style decks, and why I was droning on and on about wanting to pick up like Lucians and not have all this expensive stuff. Just there's so many games like this that are unwinnable. But we might have turned the corner in this one as we draw our millionth Jarvan. We can throw him down and then start trying to get him to flip this turn. Right? He already has barrier, so this should shut down most of what opponent's trying to do here. He just sends it back to us. That's just like such a gigantic win. We do have like a million Jarvans in our hand. I think what we're going to look to do here is he's going to hook like our 2 units with his 2 smalls. Then we'll strafing strike our Jarvan onto his Zerzerath. Take it down. We'll lose our Jarvan. Or, I mean, it's tough, right? We might need to Laurent Protege, or... Alright, I think that's how we do it. We're not going to play Cataclysm here. We're looking to take 9. We're going to strafing strike. Oh, cool. Not expecting that hook. Taking 8. So we protect our Protege this way. And then we can open with another Jarvan next turn. And hopefully that's enough to catch us back up. He's only got 1 card in hand. Right, Jarvan does. Take 8. In hand, Jarvan split back up. Now we can hook one of these units and have Jarvan take down the other one. Boop. I think that's how we do it. We took a bit of extra damage this way, but this ultimately seems so much better than just, oh, beautiful, beautiful. Right, now it's like he plays a unit, we just pop it with a Rika. This is good. Good job, Jarvan. You're my boy. Interesting. Just passes.
Words make a ruler, but actions make history.
Does he really just have a hand of like monster harpoons? That's interesting. Enjoy. Nice. I'm glad we got ourselves out of that one. That was pretty scary. Being against lurkers and having a big dartily draw like that. Nice. You don't have much business getting to turn 9 against lurkers. Okay, what do we got here? Don't need 10-drop Cythria. I'm going to go ahead and pass on that one. I think we'll pass on all these. Again, I want to keep the Ranger's Resolve over the Riposte. I like having this 1-mana combat trick. And then I want to keep our 1 Confront. So we'll skip this one. Ooh, okay. I'm glad a game like that turns up. You know, that's these decks tend to be incredibly powerful, but you do run into draws like that, and even not as obnoxious as the ones to where you have like three Jarvans and Brightsteel. Like you run into some of these as to where you just have like a bunch of 4-drops, right? That's usually just bad enough for you to fall too far behind. We don't have the successions to make up for it either, right? Succession can be one of those things to where you have like a really awkward slow draw, but then on, you know, like turn 4, turn 5, you have all that spell mana banked up, and so you can still play 2 cards because of your succession. But all right, Xerath Talia with the Sun Disk. I dig it. All right. Get them trades while you can.
I go!
And then no opens here. The units in these decks are also small. We should be able to pretty safely play the Protege. Wouldn't be surprised if we actually get to hit for 4 here. Okay. He's going Turbo Zerath on us. He's gonna have that Zerath here real quick. But it's tempting. I'm curious the amount of space we could wait just not playing anything. Our hand isn't like that powerful here. It is kind of cool that the Endless Devout doesn't kill the Protege. It's like it does now, but that's fine. He's still got 2 health, so we can hook him down next turn. And then we can play this turn a little slow, right? We'll start with the Bright Steel, and then if we want to make a Tattered Banner play, we can give the second Bright Steel the banner and try to get a hook in. Can't give him like the additional one, those extra barriers, but it can still work out okay. And is this Preservationist worth a riposte? And that's kind of wild. He also popped the Sun Disc with the Preservationist. I guess if you're just adding it to the board, that's just kind of where you're at in life. But it's kind of wild he didn't save it for like post-combat. I guess he is about to just get blasted here, though. Alright, well, we're definitely ahead on board. But these spaces are always pretty scary. He's got... it's like they're always so good at just like flipping this... whatever this sarcophagus is into the unit. And I ultimately worry that that's going to be a problem here. We ever just try to back-to-back down Talia? I don't think so. We're just going to take her down with Jarvan next turn. So this attack is still decent, right? Her Talia rocks will will break this thing down. The barrier's not good enough to protect here, but I just want to get the unit on board mainly. Get some burst blockers out here. Ancient Hourglass. Okay. Let's see how this one goes. Give it a shot. We don't have anything else to spend our mana on this turn, and popping Talia would be quite nice. At the end of the day, we just need to be like wider than opponent, and we can probably kill them with back-to-back. Just they're about to get on board with a lot of dudes. Okay. Rip Sun Disc protects Talia. It's okay. We fight till we're ragged, and then we fight again. So deep, my dude, so deep. Into Waste Walker. That's about to grow real big. To the flag. I wonder if he ever says, to the window, to the wall. Let sweat drip down my balls. Skeet skeet, motherfucker. Are you all familiar with this one? Oh, skeet skeet, goddamn. So let's see what happens here. We gotta play back to back this turn. So I think we'll need to boost our Jarvan and our Protege, and then if we just ignore Talia, that's like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, then we can just deal with the 2 units to the right. This fall to 4. shouldn't be at too much risk. I mean, we can't. I guess we can't lose our Jarvan to a shaped stone. But, okay. Do we ever want to just try and drop the Talia? I don't know about that. The thing with this, I guess we need to wait and see if he adds another unit to the board, right? If we get to just open, we can. Okay, he's tapped out now. So the idea here is we Cataclysm the Penitent Squire into Talia, we open, and then Jarvan will hook the Ambassador and we'll kill with the Protege. Might do it. What happens? Could we just attack with Jarvan here? Is this how this works? You just boom it in for 7, and then this gets around a Spirit Fire. Nice. Yeah, I think I got the lyrics on that one right. As the sweat drips down my balls, all skeet skeet skeet, motherfucker. All skeet skeet, goddamn. This is one of the that was one of the frat house classics when I was in college. Anyways, moving forward, I don't like super want this on guard. I think I'm kind of okay with getting rid of it, but the Radiant is awful expensive, so I'm going to skip over that one. I want to hang on to the Strafing Strike. On to the next one. I could finally see us getting rid of Reinforcements. Just like, I don't super want to add in these Cataclysms because we don't have any Scout units outside of generating Valor. And so I don't feel like this is great if you're not getting the attack token on your opponent's turn out of it. And so it's like, I want to keep the one rally. Don't want to pick up Cataclysm. And Protege stays. All right. Here, I think we have to keep our back-to-back. Let's go ahead and skip over all of these. The King Jarvan is kind of interesting. Like, what does he do? When I'm summoned, draw Jarvan, okay? If he's already in play, give everything Challenger and Scout this round. It's so incredibly powerful. It is expensive, but the first blade is kind of a turd. So, alright, fine. I think I actually want to keep the Challenger Bird. It does just like let us do these draws to where we play the Bird on 2, the barrier thing on, or the Bird on 1, Brightsteel Protector on 2, and then just get off to a real big start. So I think I'll skip over all these as well. And the last one, I am interested in Honored Lord over On Guard. This is elite, helps with the Squire issue we've been having. Then it's also the premier target for the Umbrella. So let's add him in. On Guard has been kind of meh here. But yeah, was that Get Low by Little John? Can't quite remember if that was the right one. The other one that my roommates enjoyed was the Whisper song. I forget who penned that classic. Starts off with the "Baby wanna see my dick, gonna tear that pussy up." Classic lyrics, Shakespearean, if you will. I forget who that one was. I don't think that one was a Lil Jon one. I think that was somebody else. But man, whew, wonderful tunes. I can't remember the fantastic musical recommendations I've dropped here in recent times. There is that classic Wu-Tang Clan album I talked about a few weeks ago. That one is still classic and amazing and highly recommended. Doesn't have lyrics as ridiculous as Lil Jon's Ball Sweat or the Whisper song, but oh, it's fantastic. We'll cancel this and start up. We'll give this one shot. In terms of the lyricists these days, I've always appreciated the work of 2 Chainz. There's not too many people out there that could come up with the quality lines like "She got a big booty, so I call her Big Booty." Big fan of that one. He's got he raps a lot about ass clapping. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there. A lot of good material. Big fan of 2 Chainz. But it's getting old though. All the who knows what all the youngsters are listening to these days. I learned about 2 Chainz from a youngster at the time. He would have been young then. He was in his early 20s and filled me in on how wonderful 2 Chainz was. And I don't I don't have anyone else in my life these days to drop those knowledge bombs on me. All right, man. All right, I'm gonna give it one more go. We'll give it a third shot for an opponent, and then if no opponents turn up, we'll get the old Poro bot. But whew, man, I'm out of good lyrics for you these days. It's like in my past travels, I used to get like a 15-20 minute drive to the gym. Then you go to the gym 5 or 6 times a week. It gives you half hour just to listen to the rando music in the car. But my drive is too short now. I only have time for one song, so I don't get to sit around and just listen to stuff as much as I used to. But life can be hard. That's one of the many struggles. But yeah, not a bad day up to here. Not too many 3 faction decks to bitch about. Again, I assure you they're terrible. The only 3 faction deck we ran into was the spiders. With I kind of wish we would have seen like a little bit of blowout from the Iceborne Legacy, but didn't happen. What do we have here? Mono Shadow Isles, headlined by Vigio. Sure. So we're on. These are kind of awkward draws in the sense that we're on the odds and we can't really use these Bright Steel Protectors, but I don't think we ever mulligan it. And then against this style of deck, like I'll plan to like pass on turn 2, but if he drops a Cursed Keeper, then I will follow up with the Bright Steel and see if we can't just go ahead and get that guy off the board. They tend to have a lot of the self-sacrifice stuff amongst all these champions he's playing. Fine. We picked up a second one. There's probably not much reason to hang on to the initial one.
Break their spirits and their soul.
Okay, then no elites for the Penitent Squire. A little sad.
Protect and strike.
He's going to play a little boy post-combat. Grasp post-combat. Okay. So yeah, how do we want to handle this? Like, we probably want to be playing the reinforcements next turn. Let's just pass and see what happens. I guess if we just miss out on banking 2 mana, it's not horrible. Okay, that just got much better.
Got your back.
Then the downside to trying to play reinforcements next turn is it just trades with these dudes. We're not going to get like a Ranger's Resolve out of it just yet. So I'm going to play it and see what happens. I'm kind of hoping we run into the same space we did previously where he like slow played his removal and we just get a pass and they overbank 4 mana here. I think that would be great if we could be kind of primed and ready for these Ranger's Resolves. But I'm going to say it's definitely not as scary for him on this turn since we're tapped out now. So we'll have to see what we can do in the face of Vigio. He's not like ultra scary, but he can get out of hand kind of quickly.
Shall we do?
And Kindred.
Ready.
Okay.
Try me, I dare you.
Let's start with this and see where it gets us. It seems like he's probably got kind of like a black spear lined up for us. I mean, that's what his mana reads as. So let's play it a little slow and see what we can get into. He tries to like black spear something, and then we get to strafing strike it away to kill his kindred. That's a pretty positive turn. Looky there. Alright, and then the new question becomes, do we want to like slam something into Vigio, right? I mean, we can't technically slam the Protege and then try to hit with back-to-back, or do we do get in for 10 this way. That's probably about as good as it's going to be. I don't think we can open back-to-back, right? Vengeance is just a little bit too scary. But this is also kind of lining us up to the space where on our next attack we can try to kill with back-to-back instead of using it to take down Vigio. Could also just try and single combat him down, or whatever this is, strafing strike. Which I'm kind of for. It's a little scary. If he has a unspeakable horror or a vile feast, then we're going to get blown up here, but if he doesn't, then this is extremely good. Now the new question is like, how do we feel about him hooking our 4-1? I think that's kind of okay, right? If he hooks our 4-1, then we're still kind of in the space to where we can take down Thresh with the Silverwing Vanguard. So not drawing a unit was kind of painful. Is there a world where he doesn't attack? I mean, probably not, but let's at least make sure. So now if he wants to hook our Vanguard, we can back-to-back. But, interesting. Yeah, I was like, why would you hook the Squire when we put the Vanguards on board? Okay. Alright, we gotta draw something. We got him in like a really good spot, and then we just gotta draw some top-end kind of things. Alright, Jarvan.
I wear the crown and bear its burden.
You're a little bit better on the opposing turn, but kind of is what it is.
For the fallen, stand with your king.
This is just never a good confront, right? Yeah. Alright, well, dude knows. Jarvan's on the way. What's the deal with this tough symbol? Why's it got like a little like sunbeam over top of it on the King Jarvan? It's because he's premium? So premium out here?
How will they act? How will I respond?
Alright, what you gonna do for us? I think if he had, I don't know what he'd be thinking of here. If he's gonna like Withering Wail us, he would have already been like well beyond it. Looks like he's gonna try and flip this Thresh. Not a lot we could do about it, but when we have the back-to-back, we should be a little bit safer. Okay, and then the Thresh will hook out the Vigio, right? He's played one Thresh, we killed one Kindred, we killed one Vigio. That's the only option he has left. We should get a good back-to-back here. I would expect... Interesting, I was expecting him to hook King Jarvan, but sure. Okay, okay. So, dude's out of champions. We've dealt with that fucking mess. Let's see what we can get into now. Looking to confront the Jarvan. Hook.
Everyone's a god.
What? Why are you going for the drains now? Oh, just getting some of that stuff off board? Sure. Bright Steel. I appreciate when you turn up Bright Steel. Maybe we'll play you defensively next turn.
With me, Knights of Demacia. Bring them here.
Hang on, this is awkward, right? We can't actually answer as Bright Steel Protector. Well. It is slightly awkward. So, I mean, we're not, like, super close to dying. I think I'm still good to attack with everything. Well, his Bright Steel blocks are fairly good. And should we have just not gone for Jarvan this turn and then put, like, a bannered Bright Steel down? Interesting. I'm fine with this trade. He is getting like a stat advantage by killing our 4-1 with a 1-1, but I want to make sure his kill your own units, targetables are off the board if we can, right? If he's holding on to a Spirit Leech, we want him to either draw no cards or we want him to sacrifice the Neverglade Collector. So I'm happy enough with that trade. The Ruination. Okay. So he's got 2 cards in hand against our Bright Steel formation. Hopefully this is enough. Dude's drawn 4 champions to our 1, so we still have a lot of raw power just hanging out in our deck. Yep. Fuck me. It's a dude, I guess. I'm just waiting to get really upset by like a crumble. This is okay. I feel like he probably would have just snapped it off if he had it, but okay. We're growing. We at least got him back in that space we were looking for, right? Where he just has the just the Neverglade Collector. I'm gonna repost this. We're really close to just being wider than him. And like we have tons of top end left in our deck, as long as we aren't out here drawing like Penitent Squires and Honored Lords. Why not just draw some 1-drops? Why not? Okay. He just sits on 2 cards. Interesting. Curious what those could be. But we have the way to challenge down his Neverglade Collector now, so we can get that bit of scary off the board. Yep. Sure.
No time to form up. Ride. I'm ready enough.
Alright, continuing from there. Is this the Vengeance? Oh my god. Okay, Glimpse from Beyond. He's drawn like quite a few more cards than us, which is fine. Like that's what his deck should be doing. Looks like he's like 4 cards ahead of us. 2 from, like, it should be a handful of card draw, and then we're kind of even when we played our Jarvan and he played his Thresh Hook, but man, just it being one of these games where the champions are so important that them drawing 4 and us drawing 1 is kind of painful. But the hopefully decent space we're getting into here is, this was a little scary now that he's added a lot of big boys to the board, but we were like kind of preparing our space to where he only had 1 blocker, and we had could potentially challenge through for big damage. But I think we have to block everything here. We're just getting like so close to dying to an atrocity. Make sad noises. Alright, well, Jarvan has arrived. And the unfortunate thing is he's gonna hook the Undying, which is a pain in the ass. But, alright, I mean, we gotta do something. Let's get him on board. Sure, not surprised. Alright, well, I think this one's unfortunately probably done. It just, we had to soak so many cards into taking down 4 champions that he's going to card advantage us out. Like, up to that point to where the Ruination hit, like if we hadn't had to deal with the Ruination, I think we would have ended that one easily, but it's such an impossible card to play around in Expedition that not surprised that something like that happened. I'm just going to fall to 1. We're getting to the point to where Atrocity kills us anyways. This opens us up to dying to like Unspeakable Horror. But we just have to have like something go right here. And at least with this board, we can like chunk in for 8 and maybe realistically kill him 2 attacks from now. Well, this card advantage should be too high at this point. But he's only got 5 cards left. I don't think we're going to be able to fight through that, but let's see what we can do. Yeah, better do some emotes. Sure, good job. And so yeah, I mean, it kind of is what it is, right? I mean, as we're out here playing cards like Brightsteel Formation, you're going to run into people that have cards like the Ruination and good places to deal with them, but I'm kind of like okay with the back and forth in those terms. It's just like with that game, we not even dealing with like the amount of card advantage he was able to assemble. Like when they're able to on like what was that, like turn 5 or turn 6 have like Vigio Kindred on the board and then immediately follow up with Thresh and then have the Thresh hook out the Vigio. Like it's it just takes like so many cards to deal with a champion. And I thought we dealt with that pretty reasonably, especially considering that we naturally drew 0 to his 3. It was just that Ruination was just too much to overcome. Like we had just like turned the corner with the Ruination and or before the Ruination, and that wiped everything away. So a little unfortunate, but well played opponent. I feel like we would have probably. I won't say that that's one of those matchups where we're like a 70-30 or an 80-20, and it just like really sucks to lose on the low end of that. But I do feel like that's probably one where we're like a 55-45 or something. Or if we both draw the same number of champions, I feel like we're probably a pretty big favorite. But well played opponent, you took that one down from us. And so, anyways, back to the deck here. You know, I think a lot of the issues and strength of this deck we did really get to highlight here today. Again, the way I typically like to draft this kind of thing is to really focus on the elites. And this was a draft to where we weren't able to assemble that. That was kind of odd, especially when we were up here at like pick 2, picking Penitent Squires. But it did just kind of like hone in onto Retribution for us. which was fine, right? We're trying to do a lot of quick attack challenger combos, retributions where you get Lucian and your Sennas. And so if we're loading up a deck with Penitent Squires and Confronts and On Guards, then I'm more than happy to add in the Lucian Senna package. But that piece of it never showed up. Which was a little unfortunate. It was also really weird that it showed us all of those retribution packs, but then offered us up Fioras as the champion pick. I'm not exactly sure what we did there, but that is what I would kind of like classify as a disaster drafting Jarvan, and compare that to some of our previous videos, like compare it to that Bilgewater draft from like 3 or 4 videos ago, where everything is just completely shitty the whole way through. Like you have very few decisions, and it's like you're just dodging packs that have completely unplayable cards, or saying, okay, do I want to add Bloodbait or do I want to add Sleight of Hand to my deck? And as we come out here and draft this Jarvan deck, the big disaster that we ran into is that Lucian and Senna didn't show up. And that's not even like our build around our build around capacities or capabilities. Like it's just like such a world of difference, and a wild difference between how good Demacia is and a lot of the themes and the combos are for Demacia compared to what some of the other factions are dealing with, right? Because if we want to continue to add to what a disaster this draft was, we didn't see a single one of that guy that veteran sergeant, vanguard sergeant, whatever he's called, that generates the 4 Demacias. Just didn't see one the entire draft. And again, that is like usually a pretty big core to these decks. Like you could see so many of these games to where like we're assembling this early game package of like Fleet Feather Tracker, Penitent Squire, Bright Steel Protector, Honored Lord, Larent Protege. Then you can add the Vanguard thing into that mix. And then when you get to like, turn 7 and you have 5 dudes on the board and your opponent only has 1 because you've been barrier challenging everything down, that 4 Demacia is just game breaking. You don't even have to, play one naturally in your deck, and you're just playing the highest statted 3-cost units in the game, right? And it has the elite tag attached to it. Like that card is typically really pivotal in pushing these decks from being like mediocre to high powered, and we just didn't have any of it, right? All of these high-powered things we're looking for just didn't turn up. And then we still found ourselves in the final battle against a deck that I felt like we were a favorite against. And so, yeah, lots of really powerful things coming out of these. Again, with Jarvan, I prefer to be mono Demacia. I prefer to be in elites. If you start seeing Demacian Steel and Garen turn up, then you're doing it right. Not opposed to drafting Sharma, right? It's tougher to do the elite style thing. I think if you do land in Sharma, you kind of have to give up on the elites theme, but you do still get to pick up a lot of other high powered cards like Exhausts or the Vicurin 4-drop kind of things. All of them, just like all of the 4-drops out of Sharma, the Profiteer, the +2/-2 guy, and then the vulnerable -1 attack guy. All of those are extremely powerful. So it's just slightly different. I think it's slightly worse than the elites, but also still quite powerful. It was, kind of interesting here getting to assemble some of this, attempt to assemble some of this quick attack challenger styled things. That part didn't quite come together, but we did still have a pretty powerful board controlling early game, and then a lot of the really high powered late game from Demacia. So powerful stuff. And so, yeah, again, in general with this deck and the elites, the things that you're watching out for are, the big thing is your curve. You want your curve to be really low. It's easy enough to get expensive cards, and they're all similar in power level, so it's not that big of a deal, right? I'm not saying that Swiftwing Lancer is better than Jarvan, and I'm not saying that Swiftwing Lancer or Heavy Infantry are better than Garen, but they're comparable power levels as to where if you just don't have 2-drops, you're going to lose the games. And so you have to really focus on that early game, and then you need to do something to find some interactivity. And so you want to find, something like Confront to give Challenger, Strafing Strikes, or single combats. It would be nice to pick up a Detain or pick up a Concerted Strike. We didn't see any in this draft either. And then we prefer our combat tricks to be these kind of 1-cost things, either Ranger's Resolve or Radiant Strike, as opposed to the more expensive ones like Riposte and Back-to-Back. I'm not saying don't play Riposte, don't play Back-to-Back. You just don't need to go out of your way to find them. So, yeah, pretty good draft nonetheless. I had fun with that one. No Bannerman either. That was odd. And I think that is going to do it for us today. I mean, there's no more rewards. And so for your reward, you can just head over to the Twitter. There should be more spoilers up. They should be up daily. I think kind of the cadence they did with the last set was like they just released Yumi on Tuesday. I would say that they do another champion on like Thursday or Friday, and they do another champion on Saturday or Sunday, and then I think on Monday they usually release the full spoiler to Mobalytics, and all of the cards will be out there. Maybe it's not until Tuesday, then the cards come out till Wednesday, but it usually follows a pattern, something similar to that. So that is going to do it for us today. I hope everyone enjoyed the video, learned how to challenge your opponents a little bit better, maybe learned a thing or two along the way, had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.